Right, hello everyone, welcome to the Essex Sport Facebook page. My name's Tracy and I'm going to be taking you through a short freestyle fitness yoga sequence today. Okay, and before we get started, just need a few things to go through. Okay, so as we work our way through the session, please stop and watch if you need to. If there's anything you're not sure of, stop, watch, join in again when you're ready to. Okay, if there's anything you're not comfortable with, please don't feel you have to work your way through those as well. Stay with the level that feels comfortable for you. And just need to make sure you've got a nice clear space at home to use as well. If you have a yoga mat, then that's really helpful, that'd be fantastic. If not, just make sure the surface that you're using is not slippery and it's comfortable for you to be standing or seated on as well. Okay, we're going to start slowly into the session today, so we're going to start on our mat, down on the floor, and then as we work through our mobility, our warm-up will come up to standing, and our main part of our sequence is going to be standing on the mat. Okay, but when you're ready to, just come over to the mat, take a seat at one end to begin with, okay? Right, so we're going to come down to the floor. I'm going to bring the arms forward, so extending the arms forwards, opening the knees maybe a little bit wider, bringing the toes together, and then just easing the hips back towards the heels. So we're starting nice and low, down to the floor, and pausing here just for a moment. Okay, maybe bring the hands a little bit closer if that feels more comfortable. But otherwise, a couple of steady breaths here to start. Alright, when you're ready to, then we're going to come onto all fours from here. So just bringing the shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. And we're going to focus the mobility on the spine to start with. Okay, so as you inhale, just lifting the chest. And then exhale, rounding through. So we're drawing the tummy in, spreading the fingers, pressing the hands down into the mat. And then we're going to work between the two. So we're just in that range that feels comfortable for you. And then just with the length of the breath as well. So just at your own pace as we move through. Right, we'll do one more of each. And we're just going to return to more of a neutral position. Okay, from here, we're going to keep the hips over the knees. I'm just going to walk the hands a little bit further forward. So as you do, just lowering the chest down towards the floor. Again, just pause in here. And just walking the hands back in again when you're ready to. Okay, we're going to take the stretch more to the side from here. So we take one hand just under the shoulder and extending the other leg. Okay, so the leg's extended, opening through the chest, or extending through to the fingers. And then reaching overhead. So we've got that long line from the foot along the side of the body, right through to the fingers. And releasing, coming back to the centre. So we come into a plank position. So we've got the shoulders over the wrists. Okay, hips in line. Pause in here just for a moment. We're going to come all the way down to the floor. So you can use the knees to support if you want to. Elbows tucked in. And then resting the feet down with a gentle lift. And just extending up through the upper body. Just to the point you're comfortable to. And then easing off. Then come back to seated. And sitting the hips back. And then returning onto all fours. So we're going to take that side stretch around to the other side. So we move this way so I can still see you. So we've got one hand under the shoulder, the other leg this time extending behind, reaching up. So we're opening through the chest and reaching through to the fingers. Fantastic. Deep breath in as you exhale. Taking that arm overhead. So again, that stretch running along the leg, along the side of the body, right through to the fingers. And release. Okay, into plank. So the shoulders over the wrists, come onto the toes, just have that position through the body, so hips in line. And try not to collapse through the upper body, so you've got a nice strong position through the upper body as well. Coming down to the floor, drop the knees first if you want to, all the way down, rest the feet down, and then just extend it up through the upper body. Again, just to that point that feels comfortable, easing off when you're ready to. Right, sit the hips back. So taking the chest low to the floor, arms are extended. Walking the hands in, just coming back up to seated. Okay, so however you're comfortable seated just for a moment. We'll take the arms up overhead, so you've got a deep breath in, arms extended. As you exhale, bringing the arms wide out to the side. Let's do that again, two more. And release. Fantastic. We're going to run through that from the beginning, a little bit more flowing as we go this time. So we started really low to the floor, so knees are wide, toes coming together. Easing the hips back towards the heels. Spread the fingers, palms resting down into the mat. A couple of deep breaths here. Alright, so we're moving on to all fours when you're ready to. Knees under the hips, shoulders over the wrists, and that mobility, that focus, just through the spine. So we're going to exhale, rounding through. Again, just working with the length of the breath. Alright, so one more of each. Lovely. So here we're keeping the hips over the knees, walking the hands a little bit further forward, and just taking the chest down towards the mat. And you can adjust that as much as you need to if you need to make it a little bit more comfortable. And then just walking the hands back in. Lovely. From here, so with that stretch through the sides. We're going to extend one leg behind. Keep the hips lifted, open through the chest, extending through to the fingers. Okay, pause in here. Then when you're ready to, reaching that arm overhead. And release. So we're coming into plank, taking it all the way down to the floor. So we can rest the knees down to support, or make it a little bit less supported through the lower body if you want to. And then just extending through the upper body, chest lifted, and release. All right, drop the hips back, pause in there just for a moment. And then returning to all fours. So we've got that side stretch on the other side. So other legs extending. Let me turn around just as we do the other side. Okay, so all fours. Again, that leg extending behind. Open through the hips, through the chest. Extending all the way up. Reaching overhead. Fantastic. And release. So coming back to the center. So into plank. And then taking it down to the floor. Elbows tucked in. Rest the feet down. Extending through the upper body and release. Right, lovely. Drop the hips back. All right, from here we're going to come to a down facing position this time. Because we're going to curl the toes under and just lift the hips up high. So that focus moving back just through the legs. You try to spread the fingers wide, hands are about shoulder distance apart. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of time just to see what feels comfortable here. Okay, so maybe adjusting the position of the hands, the feet if you need to. And then just a little bit of movement, so we're flexing through the knees, just alternating as we walk down through the heels. Okay, if it's comfortable, you want to try bending and flexing through both knees. Okay, the chest just moving a little bit closer to the thighs as you do. Right, lovely. And when you're ready to then, resting the knees back down, easing the hips back. And as we walk the hands in, just coming back up to seated. Right, fantastic. Right, shoulders in. So we're going to ease the shoulders up towards the ears, open the chest as the arms come back. Lovely. Let's do that 2 more times. And then we've got a deep breath in the center. So arms overhead, exhale, and release. So we're going to start to make our way up to standing. So all we're going to begin with is just come onto the balls of the feet. Okay, we're going to start just by extending the legs. Okay, so see how that feels. You might find you want to keep a slight bend in the knees. Okay, you might find you just want to lift the arms up and bring the upper body a little bit higher if you need to. So we're in that forward fold. And then very slowly uncurling as we come up to standing. Right, lovely. I'm going to move my mat back just a little bit, just so you can see me now on my feet. Okay, so now we're standing. We're going to take our time as we work through our standing sequence. Okay, so feet at hip distance to start with. Just get used to being upright for a moment. So from here, we're going to lift and bring the shoulders back, bring the arms down by your side. We're going to start by lifting onto the balls of the feet, so lifting the heels. If you want to, running the arms overhead, so palms are facing, heels down, and release. Right, let's do that twice more. Got that lift, extending the arms overhead, and releasing back down. One more time. Fantastic. Once round with the shoulders up to the ears, and releasing the arms back. Fantastic. We're going to start lifting just on one side. So we're going to lift the knees roughly level with the hip. Okay, hands together at the chest. Palms together, arms extending up when you're ready to. Lovely. So see how that feels. Okay, so we're just getting a sense of that balance as well now we're on our feet. And if you need to at any point, just put the foot down, just steady yourself. And release. Do the same on the other side. So we're going to change it slightly on the next go through. You might find one side's a little bit more comfortable with the balance than the other, so just adjust accordingly as well. Your floor surface at home might be a little bit different, a little bit more challenging if it's a softer floor surface. Fantastic. Right, let's come back to that first side. So we're lifting the knee, knees roughly level with the hip, arms extending. Deep breath in, pause in here, and just releasing the arms this time. So we're going to bring the opposite hand around to the outside of the knee, take the other arm out to the side. And you can pause there, we don't have to go anywhere else. Otherwise we can just rotate just slowly through the upper body towards that lifted leg. And then return to the centre. So we'll go on the other side. Again, we're just pausing and holding that balance at whatever point you're happiest to. Perfect. Okay, so releasing the arms. Opposite hand just coming round to the outside of the knee. We've got the other arm just extending out, level with the shoulder. And then if you want to, you've got that rotation through the upper body towards that lifted leg. And then return to centre when you're ready. Perfect. Okay, so this is where we're going to come into our sequence there. We're going to turn to the side for this. So we've got the feet hip distance. We're going to take a deep breath in, reach the arms up overhead. As you exhale this time, we're hinging forward. So bringing the chest forwards, level with the hips. If you're happy to, you can go a little bit further down. And just reaching down towards the floor. Right, that next breath in as we inhale, just halfway up. So we're bringing the shoulders level with the hips. Exhale and release. Slowly uncurling, so just coming up to standing. Chest lifted with the shoulders back. Perfect. Right, so that one more time. Sweeping the arms wide this time. Exhale, release, hinging forwards. Take your time, again, just seeing what feels comfortable for you. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Slowly uncurling. And we are back up to standing. Lovely. From here, we're going to come a little bit lower in the legs. So we're going to flex at the knees, the hips. As you do, extending the arms up overhead. So we're just pressing down through the heels, anchoring the hips back. Lovely. As we come out of this, we'll come back to standing. We're going to release into our forward fold, so hinging forwards. Inhale with that next breath, just halfway up. And releasing, slowly uncurling. Alright, fantastic. Let's do that again then. So we're going to drop the hips back. Right, so from here, let's go through it again. We're going to drop the hips back, flexing at the knees, the hips, pressing down through the heels. As we come up to standing, deep breath in, exhale and release, hinging forwards. Lovely. Halfway up, inhale, exhale, release. This time, just bringing the hands down to the floor. We're going to step back, so we're in plank, our plank position just for a moment. Okay, hips are in line, shoulders over the wrists. And from here, we're going to lift the hips up high. So bringing that focus back through the legs. We're here just a little bit earlier. So same again, see how that feels. Adjust the position of the hands, the feet if you need to. And then let's come back to that movement we had. So just shifting the weight, just from one foot to the other, flexing through the knees. Lovely. If you want to do this before, you can just flex both knees, chest just come a little bit closer to the thighs. Right, lovely. Legs extended, hips are high. What we're going to do this time is going to step one foot forward. So either side, take your time, bringing that foot through the hands. Okay, resting the back knee down. I mean, just pausing there for a moment, see how that feels. Okay, so that front knee's over the ankle. Start to feel that opening through the front of the hip on the back leg. And if that feels okay, we're just going to lift the chest and pause in there. Okay, see how that stretch feels. So it might be you want to bring the feet a little bit closer if it's not too comfortable, if it's too big a stretch. So just take a moment there. And then when you're happy with the arms extending up overhead. Lovely. Now we've got a little bit of a rotation here. So we're going to release the arms. Have a little look first. We'll take the opposite hand next to the foot. Okay? And then we're going to twist, turn the chest towards that front leg. So that rotation through the upper body. Okay, if you're not comfortable with that twist, okay, if you want to stay centre, that's absolutely fine. Okay, just easing off as we come back to centre. Fantastic. From here into plank, so hands either side, stepping back. Come down to the floor, so you can use the knees to support if you want to. Inhale, extending through the upper body. And releasing back down. Right, down facing. Curl the toes under. Lifting the hips up high. Focusing back through the legs. Okay, you can hold it steady if you want to. So you're a little bit more comfortable here maybe this time round. Holding that position steady. More coming back to that movement if you prefer. So we are going to work through the same on the other side. So with that other leg this time stepping forwards. So foot comes between the hands. Again, take your time. Rest the back knee down. See how that feels. Knees over the ankle. And just lifting the chest when you're ready to. Arms extending up overhead. Again, how does that stretch through the hip flexors? If you need to adjust that stance, bring the feet a little bit closer, a bit further away, and then you can do. And release. So opposite hand coming next to the foot. We're going to rotate through the upper body, so turning towards that front leg. Again, if that twist is not comfortable, ease off at any point. Okay, or stay center if you prefer. Into plank, come down to the floor. Rest the feet down. For that extension through the upper body. Shoulders just moving away from the ears. And release. Right, sit the hips back. Let's take a moment just to pause. So chest coming towards the thighs. Again, if you prefer, you can bring the hands a little bit closer if that feels more comfortable. And then from here, we're going to make our way back up to standing. So coming to down facing, hips high. And we can either walk the feet in, so the feet are coming towards the hands. We can take one big step in, but where you're going to end up is in that forward fold again. Slowly uncurling, making your way back up. Right, bring the shoulders back and down. Fantastic. Okay, so that's the basis of our sequence. We're going to add a little bit in as we go through this last time. So when we get into that low lunge, we're going to look at making that maybe a little bit higher for our next time through. Okay, grab a little drink if you need to, and then when you're ready, just come to the front of the mat or the front of your space at home, and we'll start through from the beginning of our sequence. Okay, so when you're ready, then that first position, feet hip distance. Okay, think about lifting through the thighs, through the core. I'm going to run that right through to the fingers, big stretch overhead, and release. Okay, so we're going low in the legs to start with, so we're going to flex at the knees and the hips. Just as low as you're comfortable to, and then return up to stand. Take a deep breath in, exhale, hinging forwards. Right, halfway up in that next breath, then try and lengthen through the spine. Exhale, release. Hands to the floor, so we're going to step back into plank. Pause in there for a moment. Right, so the hips high, down facing. Bring that focus back through the legs. Deep breath once you're here. So it might be we stay with that movement again, or we hold that position steady. Entirely up to you. Right, lovely. So we've got that first step forwards from here. So either side, first side, stepping the foot through the hands, resting the back knee down. Again, take a little bit of time just to see how that position feels. Adjust the legs if you need to. And then pause in here. So we're reaching through the arms, right into the fingers, that extension. And then pressing down the weight even between the two legs. And release. Right, so into that rotation. Okay, so we can hold it steady, we can hold it forward if you prefer. Otherwise, opposite hand next to the foot. I'm going to rotate towards that front leg. Releasing back to centre when you're ready. Now, this is where we're coming up a little bit higher for our position. So we're going to lift up onto that back leg and then lifting through the upper body. So we've got a tall lunge this time, an elevated lunge, arms overhead. Pause in here then, so that stretch through the front of the hip, a little bit stronger in this position. Okay, the knees over the ankles still that front leg. Lovely. From here, we're going to take a bend through the elbows. So elbows coming out to about 90 degrees. Spread the fingers wide. And try and draw the elbows back. So we're just opening through the front of the chest. And release. Perfect. Sweep the arms up. Deep breath in. And this is where we're coming down to the floor. So hands either side of that front foot. Coming into plank. Okay, we're going to come all the way down. So elbows tucked in. Down to the floor. Extending through. So lifting through the upper body. And release. Right, sit the hips back. Let's take a moment just to pause, and then we do the same through on the other side. Right, lovely. So stay there longer if you want to, but when you are ready, back into that down facing position. So lift the hips up high. Again, staying here ready just for a couple of breaths. Alright, we want the same on the other side, so that other leg this time, stepping forwards. So down to the floor to begin with. Okay, so either hold in its centre, just bring the arms down by your sides. Okay, we'll come into that rotation, so hand next to the foot, and it's rotating towards the front leg. Maybe take the gaze wherever you're comfortable to, whether that's up to the hand above, or just looking directly ahead. Ease it up when you're ready. Right, take it slightly higher through that position then. So we're going to come onto the ball of the foot on that back leg. We're in our elevated lunge this time. Knees over the ankle on that front leg. Chest is lifted, arms extending up overhead. Again, if you prefer to just stay down in our supported lunge for this time, you can do. And then taking that bend through the elbows, so flexing of the elbows and only through the chest, so drawing the elbows back. And release. Deep breath in, sweep the arms up overhead. And then as we release, coming all the way down to the floor. So into plank, step back, down to the floor. So elbows tucked in, see that control, press the feet down, extending through the upper body. And release. Right, sit the hips back. Chest is low, pause in here. And then this time through, we're just going to walk the hands in. So we're going to stay down towards the floor and just come into a seated position. Okay, lift the chest, draw the shoulders back and down. Lovely. So if you've got a little bit more time, you could, if you want to, just repeat that standing sequence a couple more times. Okay, maybe make it a little bit more flowing as you go through each side. What we're going to do from here, we're going to start to slow it down and bring it back down to the mat a little bit more. So we are seated. So you can come into the centre, get a little bit more comfortable if you want to. Right, lovely. So legs across. If you'd rather have your legs extended, that's absolutely fine. Whatever's comfortable for you. I'm going to focus on the upper body to begin with. Okay, so just lift the chest and the shoulders back and down, just away from the ears. And we're going to start just on one side. So we're just bringing the arm across the chest, so you're nicely supported. Alright, fantastic. Staying on the same side. Okay, so this hand's just going to come round, head towards the shoulder, and we're just extending up and lifting the elbows, so you feel that stretch through the triceps. Okay, you can get the hands to find each other behind, you can get the fingers to meet, always bring that arm round if you wanted to. Alright, as we release this hand, then coming down to the floor, we're going to extend up with the other arm, and then just exhale, reaching across. We're reaching over, we've got that stretch just along the side of the body. And release. Right, same to the other side then. So we're starting with that arm just across the front of the chest. Good. Moving that stretch into the triceps then. So elbow extended up towards the ceiling, so you can feel that stretch. If you want to, bring the hand round behind, just get the fingers to find each other. Lovely. So our stretch then coming over to the side. So one hand just coming down to the floor, lifting in the centre, and then reaching across. And release that down. Perfect. Right, from here, we're going to bring the focus a little bit more down to the hips. Okay, so we are, if you haven't already, going to extend the legs forwards. And then we're going to start on one side. So we're going to flex at the knee, bring that knee a little bit closer. I'm going to step that foot just over the extended leg. Try and get the leg as close to the body as you can. Okay, and then just lift the chest a little bit higher so we're still sitting nice and tall. And from here, we're going to rotate towards that closest leg. So we're hugging the knee in towards the chest. Okay, as you twist, just try and draw the other shoulder back. And we'll keep that length through the spine so we're not collapsing into this, keeping the chest open and lifted. And maybe take the gaze over the shoulder behind if you want to. Again, if any of the twists don't feel comfortable, stay centre or return to centre if you need to. back to the centre. We're going to do the same to the other side. Okay, so flexing at the knee, stepping that foot across. Again, lift the chest a little bit taller. I'm going to rotate towards that closest leg. Join the knee in towards the body. Right, so we should feel that stretch just on the outside of the glutes here and the outside of the hip. A nice stretch this one. And then ease it off, coming back to the centre. Fantastic. Right, again, just find that comfortable position through the legs. And I'm going to take you to a little bit of a forward fold here. So I'm going to turn to the side with this one. Again, you could do this with the legs extended if you prefer. I'm going to sit a little bit taller, again, lifting the chest, bringing the hands just to the floor in front. I'm just going to walk the fingers forwards, okay? It might be it's a very small movement and you are happy to keep it there. You might find you bring the chest a little bit further forward still. So see how you feel, see what feels comfortable. Ease off at any time if you need to. So when you're ready to come back to the seat, you just use the hands to support and just return to that seated position again. Right, we'll come right down to the floor for our final part. So lay yourselves down, and we're going to start just by bringing the knees into the chest. Okay, so we're just curling into a ball. The head, the shoulders relax, and just bringing the knees into the chest. And I want to try a little bit of movement, so maybe just rocking the knees side to side, or circle around with the knees, and just see what feels comfortable. Returning to centre. So we're going to keep a bend through the knees. We're going to just place the feet down onto the floor. And from here, reaching the arms up overhead. So take a deep breath in, stretching through. As you exhale, just releasing the arms back down by your side. Okay, we'll do that one more time then. So deep breath in, arms extended. Exhale and release. Okay, as the arms come down this time, I'm just going to gently rest the hands onto the tummy. So maybe one hand on top of the other. And you can keep the knees bent, okay, that's quite comfortable there. If you prefer though, we can just extend the legs out, just allowing the feet to relax out to the side. So whichever of those you prefer, get a little bit more comfortable. So we're going to pause here just for a moment. So you're very welcome to close the eyes if you want to. We're going to bring the focus towards the breath. So we'll just breathe a little bit longer, a little bit deeper with each breath. And then with the hands resting onto the tummy, maybe just being aware of the movement that you can feel with each breath as well. The eyes closed if you want to. We're going to add just a small amount of movement in. So just with that next breath, as you inhale, just taking the arms overhead again. So reaching up. Exhale and bring the arms back down by your side. Let's do that one more time. Deep breath in. Exhale, release. Okay, so the arms come down this time. Just release the feet from the floor. Bring the knees back into the chest. So just curling back into that ball. And the head, the shoulders still relax. But maybe just returning to that movement we had before. So gentle rock side to side. And then pause it in the centre when you're ready to. Okay, so we're going to be slowly making our way back up to seated. So to start with, just turn it onto your side. So bringing the knees across. And then wait, pause in here. If you have still got the eyes closed, maybe just opening the eyes now as well, so a little bit of time to readjust. All right, and then when you're ready to, slowly making your way back up to seated. So taking your time. Again, just wherever you're comfortable to through the legs. And we're just going to just ease the shoulders up to the ears and release them back and down. Let's do that twice more. Alright, fantastic. Bring the arms back down. Just resting the hands into your lap. Alright, stay where you are. Come a little bit closer. Right, fantastic. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you found that useful and you enjoyed the session. If there's any sessions from our classes that we've done that you want to revisit, please have a look at the Essex Sport YouTube channel. All the classes are saved on there, so you can return to those. You can visit new classes, you can return to any ones that you've done before if you want to. Any questions about any of the sessions, please drop us a message at the Essex Sport Facebook page, and one of the team will be able to get back to you. Otherwise, thank you for joining me today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully see you soon. Thank you.